I'm not making any money talking these days. Good Christ. I'm a dick, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. Still am. I guess I am a decent guy because I'm a fucking jerk. And I'm not a jerk. Apparently I'm a dick. I'm not an awful guy, but I've done so much ridiculous stuff. I'm an awful guy. Hey, what's happening? 40-year-old boy podcast. Mike Schmidt at the helm this week. We thought we'd give me control of the show this week. They said, you know what? Let's let him talk. It's about time. It's been a long time coming. Let's turn the microphone over to Ace Frehley. Shock me. That's from Kiss Alive 2, the best Christmas present I ever received in my life. All right, so that's true. When I was a little kid, Kiss Alive 2 came out, and I was an idiot. I loved Kiss. Not that I'm not now, and that I don't love Kiss now, because I do. I don't love now Kiss. I love Kiss from then, now. Now Kiss is awful. Now Kiss is like, it's Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons and a couple of dudes that they met on the road and said, hey, you guys want to put on some makeup and fake like you're our old friends? Yes, we do. It's Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer. Actually, that's a lie. Eric Singer is, I guess, a very good drummer who, I found out this week, I was talking to my friend Pat Francis, and I don't know if you know Pat Francis, but he's a good guy. What a dumb thing to say. Do you know Pat Francis? Anyway, Pat and I were talking, and I said, Pat, I need you to pick your ultimate band. I need a 5-piece out of you, buddy. I need 5 people in your ultimate band of all time. Like if you were going to have the greatest band ever assembled, I need you to build a 5-piece band. And that's living or dead. That's anybody. Go ahead with it and run with it. Because my friend Max told me to do this when I saw him in October of last year, and we went ahead and picked our ultimate band. And Pat's like, okay, cool. And he started to think about it, and it took him a few hours to like put it together, which is good. I like that kind of thought. I like that kind of reflection on this. And then he said Eric Singer was his drummer. And I thought, wow, think about this a little longer. Maybe put a little more thought into this. If you've just busted out session drummer Eric Singer as the drummer in your ultimate band of all time. So I didn't know if he took the task that seriously. Even though he did think about it for as long as he did. I think he got flustered when it came to the drummer. And I actually, that's not true at all. That was the first name out of his mouth. He said, well, my drummer's Eric Singer. And I immediately threw him off an overpass. And he, was able to scramble out of traffic, brush himself off, climb up to the top, and said, did I mention that Eric Singer's my drummer? And I then tied him to a crop dusting plane, and it took off, and it flew, dragging him along the ground. And then he disengaged himself from the cable. And I walked up, and I grabbed him by the shirt, and I slapped him over and over in the face, just to see if he was okay. And he goes, oh, man, thanks for wising me up. Did I mention I'm taking Eric Singer as my drummer? And I put him in a figure 4 leg lock until he screamed that he was submitting. And he finally submitted, and I stood up. And he said, I'm going to take Eric Singer as my drummer. And I actually threw him in the back of a cab and said, take this man to Eric Singer's house. And then I took a bicycle, and I raced it. And I got there just at the same time because I was that mad. I was so angry I powered myself, I propelled myself, hurled myself through time and space that quickly to beat a cab to Eric Singer's house. We got there at the same time, knocked on the door. Singer opened the door. And I wailed on Eric Singer. I could not stop hitting him. I just leaped on him. I was on him like a fucking mongoose. I mean, I was just biting his carotid artery and punching him in the ears. And I boxed him and I shaved his head. It was like that. I was that angry. And then I stood up and over a crumbled heap and I go, there's your fucking Eric Singer now, Pat. And he goes, you know what? I still take him as my drummer. And I said, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this. And we went and had some lunch. So. But yeah, that was in his ultimate band. And why did I don't know why that happened. All right, so Kiss. Oh, so Kiss. So here's what happened. When I was a kid in 1977 and discovered Kiss, and it was funny, my little brothers and I, we were Kiss. We would play Kiss records, and this is pre-karaoke. We would just pretend that we were Kiss in our house. And you ever watch the Fat Albert cartoon? I mean, a lot of you are young and you don't remember it, but when I was a kid, there was a Fat Albert cartoon, and at the end, inevitably, Fat Albert and his friends would play a song in a junkyard. And they would use instruments that they had fashioned out of junkyard things. Like Fat Albert is playing like it looked like a squeeze box, but it was an old radiator with like a hose on it, and he's playing that, and another guy's playing drums on a bunch of upended buckets and tin cans, and then they would cut to Rudy, and Rudy had an electric guitar. I don't know where he got it. I don't know where he plugged it in at the junkyard. I personally don't know why the other members of the Cosby Kids band didn't mug him and pawn the guitar and try to make a little cash to make a better life for themselves. How does Rudy get an electric guitar, for God's sakes? Anyway, they would do that, and they would have a band they would play. So that was what my little brothers would do, kind of. We had our own band in our house, and it was me and my brothers, Lenny, Andy, Glenn, and Scott. And, Lenny and I, of course, because we were the older ones, we got to be Paul and Gene, the cool ones in Kiss, which is actually a lie. I take that back. Lenny wanted to be Ace. Lenny would be Ace, and I was Paul because I loved Paul. And then... why is this funny to you? But anyway, the bottom line is, actually, Lenny was Ace for Halloween, but he was Ace, but he was Gene when we would play Kiss in the house. So we're playing Kiss, and there's 5 of us. Okay, so we had one of us played drums, and then we had a couple of guys on guitar. We had a bass player, and then Kiss had a keyboard player. Never had a note of keyboards on any of their albums. None of their songs involve any sort of keyboard or piano noises, except for Christine 16. The opening has like a one note over and over, ding, 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 ding. And that was what my brother Scott got to play because he was 5. And we just said, you know what? And we had this. The thing was, it was also about the quality of the instruments that you had growing up because not unlike Rudy, we had a broom that it was awesome. It was called an angler broom. So it was like this long broomstick, and it had an angled thing, so it looked like almost like a flying V or a cool guitar. I mean, it just looked like it, except for the fact it had bristles and you clean the floor with it. But so we had 2 of those, and that was what Lenny and I played because we were the oldest ones, and again, we were leaders of the band. And then my other brothers were. This is not unlike when we would have the BB gun fights, and other people had to throw rocks at you or popcorn. We had 2 awesome, cool broom guitars, and then my other brothers, had to play. Again, they had the pillows for drums, but the keyboard, even though there is no keyboard, and it was so funny. Scott's 5, he doesn't even want to be in the band. Why do we make him be in the band? We're just listen, you got to do this, and he would sit there and you just pound on the. But we had a 3-shelved gold wire bookcase. It was like a bookshelf. It was awesome. It looked great. It looked like it would have been a cool keyboard. I guess that's why we did it. Like I said, because we used the brooms because they were like, oh, these are awesome. You know what? Kiss needs a keyboard because that thing looks like it would be awesome as a keyboard. And then we went, well, we need somebody to play that. Scott, you're the keyboard player in Kiss. And he stopped eating lead paint chips fast enough to come over and go, what? And, did that. So that was us being Kiss. I don't even know why that came up because I was talking about Pat and his ultimate band, Eric Singer. What a goof. All right. I went to a concert with Pat over the weekend. We went to see Lindsey Buckingham. And I'm at a point in my life where I thought that would be we got an email and it said it was $5 to go see Lindsey Buckingham. And that's about right for me. I'm like, yeah, I'll pay $5 to go see Lindsey Buckingham. So, and I go and see it, and then I'm ashamed that I didn't pay more because Lindsey Buckingham was fucking crazy awesome. And I'm at a point, like I said, I try to like new music, and I try to listen to stuff, and I watched the MTV Video Music Awards a couple of weeks ago, and I'm done with new music and stuff. I mean, every once I'll find a Kings of Leon or a My Morning Jacket or somebody like that, and I'll jump on board with them, and they're great. But I got to admit, I turn it on, and I don't need to see T.I. and Lil Wayne singing through a flange or a vocoder or whatever the hell it is they're playing with these days. And it's not bad. Again, I'm not saying it's awful. I'm just saying that, unfortunately, as much as I want to try to embrace new music and be that guy, I find myself liking what I like. And it's impossible to go, you know what, I have to shun this. Because I listened to Lindsey Buckingham the other night, and I was amazed by it. It was really good. And it is so wheelhouse for old white people. I mean, that's what it is. And then I got to face facts, man. You're an old white dude. And I was a guy who I love Ice Cube, and I love Public Enemy, and I loved LL Cool J and Big Daddy Kane, and, all that rap and stuff from the 80s. And even now, I love Snoop Dogg and the Dr. Dre solo stuff, and I love the Eminem stuff. And apparently I have to have street cred. Why am I running down every rap person I like? It makes no sense. You don't care. I don't even care. But apparently it's very important to me to run it down to you folks, who I like. I have eclectic taste in rappers and music. I mean, It's just I've become like everybody else. I'm driven by the single. iTunes. It's so funny. iTunes is perfect because if you hear a song you like, you can buy it for $1. It's a brilliant system, a great invention. Except people who have the mindset like me still believe that you can buy an album and find something else you like on the album. So I'll hear a song that I like and I'm like, I gotta get that album, and I'll pay $10 for the album, and the album is awful. And I'm like, you idiot! You could have just bought that one song, or. But also, this plays into my ADD and my weird OCD. I can't buy 2 songs off of an album because then when I see it on my iPod, I go, I don't have that album. I only have 2 of those songs. Like it's not complete. Like what if there's another song on there that I like? And 30-second snippets are not enough. I have to give it. I have to give the whole song a day in court. So inevitably, then I wind up having to buy the album and then hating it. And then I have 70 gigs of music. I think I 1.5 gigs is what I listen to, maybe, maybe. And the rest of the time I'm going through, and Karen's like, "Who are the Ting Tings?" And I'm like, "Oh, the Ting Tings are great." And you know what? In reality, yeah, they're okay. I liked the album. I bought it. It was okay. But I'm not going to sit there and burn it and listen to it over and over. The Ting Tings, I just. I'm the anti-iTunes guy. It's so funny. It's set up perfectly for you to buy a single. This isn't even fucking funny, is it? This is awful. This is just me talking. Kill me. Fucking kill me. Why? This is what I said to myself. I go, don't have a plan. Just go ahead and just talk and do whatever. Moron. So I saw Lindsey Buckingham over the weekend with Pat, and it was great. We had a great time. And I'm in line in the restroom, and this is at the end of the show. There's a line to use the restroom, and I saw this really cool thing happen. There was a guy and a kid in line, and we were waiting for stalls and urinals to come open, and when you did, you would step up and use it. Well, a stall opened up, and the man walked over, and he called his son over, and he said, he's like, hey, he goes, come on, you can use the stall. And you could see the kid was probably like 12, and he wanted to be grown up, and he wanted to use the urinal. Like you could see, that's like he didn't want. He was like, no, Dad, like I don't want to go. But he didn't say that. He was just like, no, and he would point at the urinal. And the guy's going, no, come on, you go ahead. And he's holding the door for him to go and use the stall. And you could see that the kid was kind of like, you know what, I really want. I don't need a dad anymore. I don't need to go in the stall with you. I'm okay. I can do it. It was really touching for a second until it dawned on me, what if that wasn't his dad? What if that was just some guy in the bathroom going, hey, buddy, come on, let's go in the stall here. It's no problem. It's open. We'll take care of it. I mean, it made it a lot creepier. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was just like, because I thought it was this weird, touching, like, hey, hit a free throw, have a lifesaver, Tom Bosley, Happy Days dad moment, Mr. Cunningham, and no, sorry, son. I just like a like a cat's in the cradle in the bathroom. That's what it was. It was like a cat's in the cradle moment in the bathroom. And nope, it could have been. Hold on. You might notice a big change here in how I'm speaking. The phone went off, and we had to stop recording because the phone would not stop ringing. Like in the middle of me saying the cat's in the cradle thing, it rang, and then I said something hilariously funny, and then it kept ringing, and I went, I can't, seriously, we can't have it ring 10 times. If it rings once, and I say something witty and devastatingly hysterical, then that's fine. But then when it continues to keep ringing, and then it's so funny, it rang like 7 times, and Lily's just staring at the phone, and we're both waiting for it to finish ringing, almost as if we'd forgotten you could pick it up, and it would stop ringing immediately. All you need to do is push the little button and say, hello, and guess what? That awkward buzzing noise that sounds like a bird chirp would stop immediately. I forgot how a phone works. I am not smart. I'm in Lily's house, too. Lily's staring at it. That was the best part. We're both staring at it. We look like the fucking... We look like the dinosaur man. We look like the caveman at the beginning of 2001, just like staring at this phone like it was a bone. They're about to throw the bone in the air. We're just staring at it. Huh? What? It's a goddamn phone. Pick it up. It'll stop ringing, morons. Oh, we're stupid. So there you go. So I saw that it changed everything about that moment in the bathroom. Like when I thought if they weren't dad, if it wasn't his dad, that changed everything. I am covered in glitter. Don't ever come to a stripper's house, folks. You'll wind up Leaving covered in... that's a good... At least Lili is friends... Like, I'm glad that Karen is friends with Lili. Because if I was like, hey, I'm going to the podcast, and then I came home with, like, stray boa feathers and glitter on me, Karen would be like, yeah, where were you exactly? What? I was doing a radio show in somebody's house. Sitting in a pile of disregarded panties. All right, so... Disregarded Panties. That's the name of the CD. That absolutely has to be the name of the CD. You know where those disregarded panties go? The Wall of Strange Underwear. Put them right up there. Lili came to my house. This is weird. I'm always at Lili's house. Lili came to my house Sunday, and sure, yeah, and things were taking shape. Now she came by to fix my computer because my computer is screwed up. And so she's there, and she's with Karen, and they're doing stuff, and I'm watching football and yelling at the television and crying like a baby because my computer isn't fixed in 5 minutes. And I had to split for the Lindsey Buckingham concert, so I go to walk outside, and Lou, the racist bartender, who I've mentioned many times on this show, is outside. And I go walking by, I'm like, Lou, and he looks at me, and he goes, hey, who's that chick with the huge fucking tits in your house? And I'm like, my wife Karen. But that's Lou, the racist bartender. And like, part of me is like, I mean, but that's the level of discourse that, I mean, it could have been my sister, it could have been my aunt, it could have been somebody, you know, related, someone from my church group. Who's that chick with the huge fucking tits in your house? That's my friend Lili. She's a burlesque dancer. Oh, burlesque dancer. Holy fuck, are those real? Yes, they're real. On Monday nights, you can go see them, and she'll prove that they're real. Quite frankly, if you leaned into my house right now and went, hey, are those real? She'd whip them out for you. She doesn't care. Disgusting. Who says that to somebody? You know who says it? Lou, the racist bartender. I want to write a children's book about Lou, the racist bartender. Just all these, like, rainbow children come to his house to trick or treat, and he's horrified. And you know what's funny? I have seen Lou, the racist bartender, bring home black prostitutes. I have seen him do it. Because he'll bring him a hooker occasionally, but I've seen him bring home a black prostitute, and I almost want to go outside and go, hey, Lou, wow, are you guys dating? What's happening here? Like, I'd like totally bust him on it because he has to walk right by my house with her. And come on, we all know what's happening. You know, you don't find Lou doesn't bring home a girl in short shorts and day-glow boots all the time. You know, it happens like once a month. He comes home with some girl. And, you're leaving so soon after 15 minutes? That seems weird. All right. Well, I hope you crazy kids, you know, it's tough to hold a relationship up these days, but I always want to bust him when I see him come home with the hookers. And it's funny when he does it, I'll look at Karen, and Karen will look at me like, oh, boy. I almost want to knock on the door and see if they open. She opens it up in a house coat. Hello. Like it was, because I haven't been with a prostitute or a hooker, so I don't know if it's, I can't imagine how awkward it would be. I'm awkward enough as it is. I mean, I can't even imagine having a sexual exchange, and then there's going to be money involved, and then you have to leave with them, like, because the whole, and again, I'm a chick, so the whole part of sex is like, all of it is awesome, but then the best part is like the after, hanging out afterwards, and then getting ready for round two and all that kind of stuff. And I would hate to think getting ready for round two would involve any sort of, you have to bust out an abacus to figure out if you can go ahead and have a round two. All of a sudden you got to go, well, you know what? I got to, hold on, carry the two, and the satellite bill's due next week. I'm out. I can't, oh, hey, there's the phone. Again. Let's see if we realize what we can, can you? No, you're going to continue to, yes, by all means, continue to watch it ring. Oh, she answered it, finally, thank God, because, God forbid we go ahead and let it ring and ring and ring. We've learned something. We learned something from earlier. We said, you know what? Go ahead and push that button, and there's the phone. Who was it?
Dean Cameron.
Oh, Dean Cameron was calling, and he's a friend of Lili's. All right, so I'm glad he called. I've been waiting. It's funny. Next time he calls, put him on, patch him through, because I got a few questions about summer school. I want to ask him, see if he's got any. Let's do that. That'll be fantastic. I can't imagine how insufferable that would be. Hey, when you were chainsaw in summer school, Dean, now hear me out. I got a question. Was it anything like doing a free radio show in somebody's house? Now, Now, you were there on the cusp of Kirstie Alley's fame. You were there before she blew up like a parade float. Now, was there a thing in the cast where you didn't want to be behind her in line at craft services because you knew that nothing good would be left? Is that how it worked? Did you see this coming, I guess is my question. Did you know that Kirstie Alley was going to become an unstoppable eating machine? I bet Kirstie Alley could eat the fuck out of a pie. I bet that'd happen. She and I head to head, forget about it. I took down a pie in 40 seconds. She'd probably eat the tin. You know what she would do? She'd unhinge her jaw like some sort of monster and just place the pie in her mouth like an oven and just close it. Boom, gone. Tin gone. And then she'd pick up a cat and put it in her mouth and pull out the bones. Kirstie Alley's a monster. But it used to be hot. I thought she was totally hot. I thought she was really hot when she was Meg Foster. There's an actress named Meg Foster who looks like Kirstie Alley, but has alien eyes. Meg Foster has a crazy, you see people with blue eyes and green eyes, and then you see like the combination blue and green eyes. Her eyes I think they were pale, like they were the weirdest, like the lightest blue, but just oh man, it was insane. I was stunned. Why are you taking my pen? What are you doing?
I'm writing a note.
Oh, she's writing a note. All right, so it's a note for Dean Cameron. Dean, stop! Don't call anymore. Stop. Summer school was great. Stop. But yeah, so Kirstie Alley was Meg Foster. So was she? And Meg Foster is in. I think she's in Runaway with Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons is awesome. Back to Kiss. I watched that, and it's so funny. It reminded me. Watching the VMAs reminded me of Kiss because the Jonas Brothers were on, and I don't get it. I mean, I understand because it's not for me. I know it's not for me, but I didn't get it. But then I know now what people felt like when I was chasing Kiss around in the 70s. I absolutely get it. Because I liked Kiss. I liked, as my friend Howard Kramer puts it, 4 Jews in monster makeup who are playing rock music. Like, why would anybody ever think that would work? But you know what? Gene Simmons, they made it work. And Gene Simmons had a sex tape last year, and I didn't even care. Like, it was so funny. It came out, and I was mad. Gene Simmons is an idiot. There's no doubt Gene Simmons is a fucking clown now. He's just the worst person when you see him, and you're just, but it doesn't matter because it's like everything he's scheming about is to be rich. And how gorgeous are his kids, by the way, his daughter and his son both. His son looks like Val Kilmer and Warren Beatty had a baby. I mean, I don't know. Thank God for Shannon Tweed and her genes, bum-rushing genes, because her genes, bum-rushing genes? Her genes, bum-rushing genes. Oh, Lord. Regardless, the kid's gorgeous. And so's the daughter, man. The daughter's like crazy hot. And I watched that Family Jewels show, and I think it might be scripted. Any reality show where, literally, I mean, because it's funny. I tell stories on this show, and I get people going, I don't believe that story. I don't think that really happened. Well, you know what? I watched that show, and Gene Simmons, his suit, the Gene Simmons suit, like the demon outfit, his costume for stage, got lost in one episode. And there was a race against time for him to find it before he had to do a public appearance. And then they found the busboys in a hotel wearing it in the basement and doing clapping and dancing around in the Gene Simmons outfit. That supposedly really happened. And it was funny. That was the show where I went, I'm never watching this again. Because I watched the whole first season and I know how television works and I know how reality TV works. None of it is true. None of it is real. They make you do things over and over. Everything is set up and established. And then I saw that was the first episode of the second season where his suit was gone and they found the bus boys celebrating in the basement wearing it. And I went, that'll do it. I'm finished. I don't need to waste any more time. Even though as gorgeous as your kids are, as hot as the pussy as you're pulling in this show is, I can't tune in anymore if you think that I'm that stupid that I would buy that. And then I met a guy, a buddy that I wound up working with later on a show, and he was a writer on that show. And yes, a writer, because they came up with all of that horse shit. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I mean, you watch your reality shows, and you're like, I can't believe that guy cornered P. Diddy for an hour while he was sent there. You think P. Diddy would bother with anybody for an hour? Is P. Diddy even on a show? I don't even know if he's even on a show. Why did I come up? Why did I pull him? I don't get it. Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons like I said, he had a sex tape. He's on The Apprentice. His sex tape, and it was funny, in his sex tape, Gene's getting laid, and he bangs some chick, and he wears his socks. Like, she just, climbs on him and does all the work. He's sitting there with his socks on, and people are making fun of him on the internet. And I'm like, you know what? Who fucking cares? He's Gene Simmons. And she doesn't care either. He can wear his socks. He's fucking her with $100 million worth of cock. That's what he's doing. That's all she cares about. She's not like, oh, Gene Simmons is so sexy. Oh, I wish he'd take his socks off. Why? Do you really want to see Gene Simmons' feet? Holy God, no, please, leave your socks on. I wish he would have been encased in a suit of armor, except he had a little, like an oven door for his cock to flop out. That's it. Like a little door for his tongue and a little door for his cock. That's it. Because I don't need to see the rest of Gene Simmons. He's hideous. That guy's a beast. It's like looking like it's like seeing a monster from a fairy tale get laid. He's so crazy looking. He's got like that weird, because his hair, he's got that bad George Washington hair, which is really his hair, and the weird like widow's peak, and then he's got the face with the like bumps on it. Jesus, he's a fucking mess. He looks awful. I don't want to see anything else. Keep the socks on. That's great. And besides, this guy has fucked 20,000 women in his life. He doesn't have time to take his socks off. There's a line. Okay? There's a line of ladies out the door. He doesn't have time to strip down all the way. He's got to keep some clothes on, seriously, and get to work. Christ, he's just like punching a clock. Boom, boom, boom. He's punching Kitty all afternoon. You can't expect to take off all your goddamn clothes. Let Simmons do his business. Some crazy, and it's like this weird parade float porn star Swedish chick, and it's like, and then it was like sponsored by an energy drink. It was the weirdest sex tape ever because it was out for a day and gone. Like it was on the internet. And I don't get it. I'm just shocked that there hasn't been a tape of Gene up till now. You know what I mean? It's like the guy's banged 1 billion chicks. Although I have friends who maintain that that's not true. They say that since he met Shannon Tweed, he's out. Like he's completely off the market, and it's all just image. But I don't know, man. You know, I think she's happy to spend his cash and just let him go out and do that. And in this sex tape, he was definitely working it. I mean, he was, you know, this fucking chick from the Swedish bikini team climbed on him and just rode him to town. It was awesome. For him. Not so much for everybody watching it. You know, guy's wearing a dress shirt, and he's like, and he was playing like Lionel Richie in the background. It was just like, it was, you know what it was? It was a 55-year-old white guy getting laid. That's what it was. You know, I hate the fact that people like fun, and they make fun of like guys online are just like, well, I guess the demon doesn't have much of a cock. Ha ha ha. Really? So what? You win? You're like a guy working at, you know, a construction site, and you have a bigger cock than Gene Simmons. That makes you a better guy? What the fuck? Why does it all come down to that? It's crazy to me. This world is upside down. It's upside down. The fact that people can look at stars and make fun of them for any single flaw, because that's what they're doing. They're looking for any single flaw to pick on to make themselves feel better about the fact that they have to go work at Borders Books. Oh. Terrible. I wanted to say this last week. You know what? I saw the UFC. I don't know if you guys watched the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Ultimate Fighting Challenge? The Ultimate Fighting Championships, the UFC. I watched it, and Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, was brutally knocked out. I mean, it was just, his head went up like, it looked like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, like, because he's fighting a guy named Rashad Evans, and Rashad Evans landed the crispest, cleanest, short right hand right on the button, and you actually heard the noise, like you heard the Rock'em Sock'em Robots noise when Chuck got hit. And he was out cold instantly, and he fell to the ground. And I was talking to my buddy Max, and I go, dude, that wasn't even, because Max had seen it too, and because I have two friends who watch the UFC. None of my other friends like it or care about it or interested in it. When I'm in Chicago, I watch it with Max. Here, I watch it with Paul Gilmartin. And Gilmartin was out of town, so I wound up watching it by myself here. And the next day I called Max, and we're talking, and I go, Chuck, he just got fucked, because he got one punched. That's, one punch is when, literally, one punch knocks you out cold. And I go, man, that wasn't even a knockout because it was so brutal. Chuck got hit, and then he went down it looked like somebody dropped a marionette. That's what it looked like. Like if someone was controlling a puppet with the strings and then went, you know what, fuck this, I quit. And like the whole thing fell into a pile. That's what happened with Chuck. And I said it to Max, I go, dude, that wasn't even a knockout. That was too brutal. Like that looked like a scene from Platoon. Because what happened was Chuck got hit, and he hit the ground. And then the ref is cradling him in his arms and holding Chuck's head and like looking at him wistfully like, don't die on me, Johnny. I mean, it was like that kind of scene. And I said it looked like a scene from Platoon, and I was happy with that. I thought that was a pretty good analogy. And Mex just goes, dude, he looked like Bobby Kennedy. And I went, that's it, winner. I can't believe I didn't think of it. It was the most perfect thing to say because that's exactly, if you've ever seen that picture of Bobby Kennedy after he got shot in the hotel kitchen, and he's looking up. That is what Chuck Liddell looked like. Exactly what he. The only thing missing was Rosie Greer coming in and sitting on his chest. That's the only thing missing from Chuck Liddell's knockout is the appearance of Rosie Greer. And I go, and so we were like, dude, that was brutal. You know what? So from now on, whenever there's a knockout like that, we're gonna say, dude, that guy got RFK'd. He just got that guy got absolutely RFK'd. I was gonna say he got Sirhan. It was funny. I go, dude, that guy got Sirhan. But Max pointed out to me that no, Sirhan is the action of it. The end result is the Kennedy of it. I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. So that guy got a Sirhan pulled on him, and he wound up getting Kennedy'd. See, there you go. That's the way it works. So so from now on, whenever I see a knockout, it's gonna be just oh, dude, that guy got Kennedy'd, because it was. If you get a chance to find this knockout online, he gets hit. And just like I can't even describe it. Like I said, it looks like somebody let go of a marionette. So he got whacked out. And it's funny because Max and I, we love the UFC, and we've actually played the UFC video game. Like that's how into it we were. So we rent the video game. Now, when you watch the UFC, when the fighters come to the ring, they'll have them they're getting checked by the referees, and they'll put up three bullet points about that fighter. It'll say. It'll have his name, and then it'll come up, and the graphic will say, well-versed in striking, which means punching, good on the ground, relentless heart, like means he won't quit. So they'll give you these 3 bullet points about the guy. So we're playing the UFC video game, and it turns out you can create your own fighters in the game. So you can make a fighter that looks like you, or you can make a fighter that looks like, and the best part of it was you can come up with your 3 bullet points when you go to the ring. So Max and I, what we would do is, and we have a long history of this. We would, because what Tiger Woods has a golf game, and when you're playing the golf game, you can create people, and so you can either bring regular golfers or you can play as yourself and give a new name. So we would play golf, and we would all right, close your eyes. So the other guy would have to close his eyes, and you would punch in who you were, and before you took what came to the tee. And you would have to hit a button to get yourself to the tee. We would go through a long, expansive introduction of who that person was, so we could then make fun of our friend. So literally, it was like me, my buddy Jeff, and my buddy Mex, and we would do stupid shit like we would be like, all right, approaching the tee now. You may know him. A lot of people understand that he's the head of Operation Push, located here in Chicago, taking the tee, Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And then it would come up, and he would be at the tee, and the name Reverend Jesse Jackson would be under him. So we would play a round of golf as Reverend Jesse Jackson. And inevitably, you would, just be, you'd make a rhyme at every hole, and it would just be ridiculous. And then we would do people from our high school. Like we would do, the funniest one, the one that I remember the most to me, was my friend Jeff just goes, he goes, all right, you remember her from 7th period study hall? She wore a lot of black, definitely had some gas shoes, and always smelled of cigarettes. Ladies and gentlemen, Debbie Nitch. Debbie Nitch is a girl we went to high school with who was a burnout who smelled like cigarettes all the time. And she had to play a round of Tiger Woods golf with us. It was like Reverend Jesse Jackson, Ezzard Charles, the boxer from the 50s, and Debbie Nitch. They're out golfing together. So we would do this for hours. We would just bring out our friends or whoever. We would just make people up on the golf course. And the funny part of it was, Mex then says to me, like 6 months later, Mex, because he doesn't play golf unless I'm there or whatever. 6 months later, he brings out the golf game, and he said he punches it in, and it saves who you golf with. It saves the roster of golfers. So he says he opens it up, and he goes, there's Regis Philbin and Jesse Jackson and Ezzard Charles and Debbie Nitch and Dave Roselle and Miss Bronkema, our English teacher. Like, they're all in the game still. And he has to explain to his kids, like, oh, yeah, Miss Bronkema was my English teacher. Why is she playing golf with Tiger Woods? I have no idea, because your Uncle Mike and your Uncle Jeff are ridiculous. That's why. So we would do that all the time. One night, Max and I were playing video games, and I forget what it was. The baseball, yeah, it was like an MLB 04 or something for Sega, and you could actually create your logo for your team, and with pixels. So, and Max is an artist above all else. So we created using nothing but the pixels and whatever we could do. It was a porn scene of a finishing a money shot in a girl's face. Like, he was able to do it with the pixels, and it's like a cock, and it's she's got a white beard, and I don't know how it worked. But I was fascinated by it, and it took literally. We rent this game to play this game. We don't play the game. We make the logo for an hour and 45 minutes, just so we can get the perfect logo of this woman with getting a money shot on her face. Oh, dude, hysterical. So but the best part is then when your guys come to the plate, the logo's next to their name. Like they have to come up to the plate, and so we're just howling. We don't even care about the game. We just want to see the logo come up a million times. So I'm bad at video games for that reason. So then we rent the UFC game, and you can create your own guy, and you can come up with his 3 bullet points. So same thing. We're like, dude, close your eyes, and we would make so then your fighter would come to the ring, and you would punch them in, and we called them decrees. Like they weren't even like scouting report. We were like, dude, you gotta make your decrees. You're gonna make your decrees. So we had to make your 3 decrees because when you would come to the ring, they would be at the bottom of the screen, almost as if you were like a king, and they were like, all right, this is what I have to say. So like the first time we fought, like his fighter comes to the ring, and it's like they put up the name, and the guy's walking down, and he's kind of shadow boxing, and it was like loves salads, hell of a dancer, invented the mop. Invented the mop. I was crying. I mean, it's just like, and so then my guy comes out, and it just says, it's like, Carl the Killer Wilson, whatever the fuck, and it just says, supernaturally ignorant, enjoys smoke, once ate a penguin. Just decrees, and we came up with decrees all night long. Just stupid shit. We didn't even fight. I don't even think we fought. We just wanted to see the guy walk to the ring and his decrees come out. Sleep standing up. Had a mustache at age 9. Earned a PhD in bothering. Yeah, it was dumb. So that was us. We just came up with decree. So whenever you see a guy get brutally knocked out, that guy just got RFK'd. That's it. A one-punch knockout is now an RFK. If you'd have seen Liddell just laying there getting his head cradled, oh my God, it was brutal. The decrees, so funny. All right, so what else did I do? I had something else to talk about. I know I did. I always do. Don't I always have something else to talk about? I got a phone call. This is weird. I got a phone call in Spanish, and they left a message on my machine, and they were like, por favor, blah, 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 Miguelito, blah, 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 Miguel, blah, 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 blah. Well, I know Miguel is like Michael, so I'm like, well, all right, they're calling for me, I think, but I don't know. I mean, that's weird. And Miguelito, isn't that like a little me? Doesn't that mean like a little Mike? I don't know what it means.
Like a Mikeette?
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know. But, I mean, it panicked me because then I look at the phone. It was from a daycare center. So then I was like, wait a minute. What if Miguelito and Miguel are in trouble? Like, I mean, I have no idea. And I was the only guy that they had to call. So it dawned on me. Because then I figured, like, maybe they were looking for Miguel. I don't know what the hell happened. But I called them back. And they answered the phone Spanish. Like hola or whatever it is that those fine folks say. And I'm like, si habla inglés? I don't even know why I even threw the weird English. I don't need to say that. Just say habla English, because then they would either say sí or no. So and they go yeah. Like then it was like then they're annoyed. Like si habla English? Yeah. Oh okay. And I said look, I just got a phone call, and I'm not Spanish, and they left it in Spanish, and I don't want there to be trouble. In case somebody needs their family to come and pick them up. And she's like, who was it for? And I said, it was for, all I heard was Miguelito and Miguel and por favor. And she's like, oh, I know what that is. Really? You know what that is? That's awesome. You know it from those 3 things? She's the greatest detective who ever lived. And she's like, I'll take care of it, which then really freaked me out because then I thought, now I pictured them just whipping the Spanish person who called me. You called the wrong number. What are you doing? I'll take care of it. That just sounded ominous. But I don't care. I did my duty. I called up. I got Miguelito and Miguel on board, and everything squared away. But I thought it was a good thing to do, to call them back and just be like, hey, that's fine. So we saw Lindsey Buckingham last week for $5, and he was great. And then we played the autograph game where Pat tries to get the autograph, and we're standing out there, and we're trying to get the autograph, and it's actually it was me and Pat Francis and Jimmy Pardo went to this show last week, and so we're waiting there afterwards, and Pat is going to get his autograph from Lindsey Buckingham, and we're outside with all the professional autograph idiots, and I hate them, and I can't stand. I'm barely tolerating Pat at this point with his 3 Fleetwood Mac albums, and that's a lie because I got to admit it's really fun for me to do this just because I get to joke around with Pat for an hour while we're waiting for this artist to come out and tell him no. And so we're sitting out there, and it's me and Jimmy and Pat. Pat goes off to go find Buckingham because then the band is coming out, and then Buckingham comes out. There's probably 10 people waiting, 2 of whom are in wheelchairs. Lindsey Buckingham walks out, and his wife goes, "He can't do this tonight." And he holds up his hands. He goes, "I'm sorry. I'm real sorry. I got to go. We're in a hurry. We're in a hurry." Walks past. Doesn't say hello to anybody. Doesn't even the 2 people in wheelchairs. Doesn't shake their hand or thank you for coming. And blows right past everybody who wants an autograph and leaves. Gets in his car and splits. This is at a show at UCLA's campus in a place called Royce Hall that holds 1,600 people. That wasn't full. That we paid $5 to get into. Normally tickets were $56. They sent out an email last week, "Hey, $5 to see Lindsey Buckingham," because nobody was coming. Now, nobody was coming because he's from L.A. I didn't hear anything about this show. There wasn't a lot of publicity behind it, and it was also like a warm-up show for his tour, so it wasn't that big a deal. I'm not trying to paint Lindsey Buckingham as a pathetic artist or anything. He's incredibly famous. He wrote Go Your Own Way. As far as that guy has his ticket forever. He can do whatever the fuck he wants now because he actually sat through the pain of writing Go Your Own Way, submitting it to Fleetwood Mac with Stevie Nicks in the room, and then had to sing it every night on tour with her a few feet away from him, and the song's completely about her and him and their relationship. Oh, and by the way, not only that, but then he had to sit there while she brought out Dreams, which is about him and her and their relationship, and then he had to perform that on stage, hearing lines like, "Have you any dreams you'd like to sell? Dreams of loneliness and a heartbeat that drives you mad in the stillness of remembering what you had. Oh my God, suck on that. You used to bang me and now you don't, Buckingham. And I'm a foot away from you with a tambourine, a fucking crazy dress doing spins, and you can't do anything about it." So you know what? Buckingham's worth whatever he wants. I'll pay it because just the psychic pain of having... And it was funny, he sang Go Your Own Way the other night with the appropriate amount of anger and sarcasm, in my opinion. Because at the end of it, he's like wailing on the guitar, and you could just see he's just... It still seems cathartic for him, and it should, because, I mean, I got goosebumps thinking about it in the auditorium the other night. Imagine singing that song. The raw emotion and the depth and the nakedness of that song, and it's his biggest hit. It's the song everybody wants to hear. Hey, do that song about the time your heart got eaten. Could you do that? That'd be great. Hey, do that song about that elf that sings like a goat who punched you right in the chest and pulled your fucking beating heart out and showed it to you on stage every night. Could you do that for us? That's got to be rough. So you know what? If he doesn't want to talk to people in wheelchairs, I'm on board. Fuck it. I'm on with Buckingham. You people in the wheelchairs, go your own way. He's going his way. He wants nothing to do with you folks. He's already had his heart ripped out. He's now a Buckingham robot. He wants nothing to do with anybody. It's so fun. And he was walking out with his wife, and he told a story on stage. He's like, "Mom, I met my wife 10 years ago. We got 3 beautiful children," and everybody's clapping, and you're just like, you know what? She ain't Stevie. I know everybody's thinking that. You know what? I'm glad that you've got this girl. By the way, go ahead and sing Go Your Own Way and tear the scab off again. Could you do that? That's why his wife was so pissed, because he has to sing Go Your Own Way every night, and she knows every time he sings it, he's thinking about Stevie Nicks and thinking about her and, singing, twirling around in her veils and having people blow cocaine up her ass. She's doing, that's all Stevie, and he's on board with it. For that 5 minutes to 8 minutes, including the guitar ending, he's back with Stevie Nicks. And the wife can't do anything about it except rough up some wheelchair people. That's what she can do. She can take it out on them. But Pat was really bummed, man. Pat really wanted Buckingham's thing. So this ends, and we're standing out there, and I can never do this justice, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Pat's talking to me, and it's me, him, and Pardo they're talking, and everybody's the crowd is dissipating. By the crowd, I mean the 12 people that are waiting for Buckingham as he's driving away. So Pat's talking to me. I'm talking to Pat, and Pardo's on my left, and he just go in the middle of it. Like, it's a normal conversation, and in the middle of it, Pardo just goes, "Hey, Mike, look over there." And I turn to my right, and there's a guy an inch from me. I mean, it's not even, like, I don't know how I didn't feel his presence. I don't know how I didn't smell him or, just that weird, or hear his breathing because he had, like, fish lips and he was mouth breathing. But it was the funniest thing ever because it caught me so off guard because I'm talking to Pat and I don't even see this guy. How do I not see him in my peripheral vision? He's just enough out of the way. But he's an inch from me. I'm not even lying, an inch. And Jimmy just goes, "Hey, Mike, look over there." I turn around. This guy, it's like this guy's right next to me. And I'm going to put the microphone away from my mouth. I have to, because I just went, "Ah!" Like, I yelled that loud in the guy's face because it was just, I like laughed. I was like, "Ah!" And I had to walk away. I coughed. I laughed so hard I coughed, like that weird, like, like, oh my God. It was so funny because we're making fun of these people. We're basically talking about how much all of these people suck. And Parker just goes, "Hey, Mike, look over there." Literally an inch from me. Oh, terrible. So, yeah, but it was it was an amazing show. But left Pat with a bad taste in his mouth, unfortunately, afterwards. And that was the second show I went to this week. It was my wife's birthday on Monday, and I got to tell you. All right, I got to tell you this. I can't believe I fucking forgot this. Last night for my wife's birthday, we did a few things over the weekend that I'll cover, but one of them we went to Katsuya, which is our favorite sushi place. We have not been in a long time because they broke up that old gang of ours. All the chefs we used to like that knew our names and we knew their names, they're gone, man. And so one of them is at a different location, so we've gone and seen him on occasion. But we don't go to this location because we don't like any of the chefs that are there usually. So we went there last night because it's closer to our house, and it's Karen's favorite place to go. It's just our chefs are gone. So we get in there, and it's usually like it's a small restaurant. I'm sitting down at the sushi bar last night, and I look, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel are in there. They go walking to their table, and because I was turning around to get a waiter's attention because Karen wanted more iced tea. I turn around, Timberlake and Biel they're walking down the aisle at me. Timberlake makes eye contact with me. I have no idea why I did it. I winked at him. Timberlake looks at me, and not because it was like I immediately recognized him when I saw him. And it was that fast. I turned around and I'm looking, and it's just you look at people when they're walking down the aisle. He's walking, he looks me right in the face. I'm looking at him, and it wasn't like a wink like, "Hey buddy, how you doing?" It was a wink like, "I know who you are." Like I don't even know how I processed it and did it this fast, but it was like I went like at the end of it, you know what? It was a wink like Ronald McDonald would do at the end of a McDonald's commercial. Like after he made just some bad pun, he'd be like, "Well, Big Mac, I don't know if you should be telling those Whoppers," and then winks. That was the wink I gave Timberlake. Hey, Timberlake, wink. I know it's you, buddy. And he laughed because it was so weird. He just like smirk laughed like that kind of thing. And Jessica Biel was right behind him, and and just looked like a normal person. Timberlake looked exactly like Timberlake. Jessica Biel, when she takes her makeup off and stuff, she looks like a normal person, a normal like hot girl that you'd see. She but with just that, her ass is ridiculous though. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. So they go walking by, and I said to Karen, I go, "Hey, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel just walked by," and Karen, my wife, is usually a crazy celebrity person, like to the point where I have to say, "Hey, enough," because but she has her favorite. Like if she sees a certain person that is like her favorite, then she gets crazy. But I told her it was Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel, and she was underwhelmed. She's just like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "What do you mean? Oh yeah." Like it was actually her birthday, and I thought that would be kind of neat that she saw them, and it was But and then she goes, "Hey, did you see Emma?" And in my head, literally in my brain, I went, "Emma Thompson?" Like I thought Emma Thompson. But then I realized she's talking about Emma, who's one of the bus people at this restaurant. Because as I told you, my wife has awkward conversations with everybody. She's like adopted Emma because Emma's like this little girl who doesn't speak a lot of English, but she's cute. But Karen will be like, "Oh, Emma, how are you? How is your family? How are you doing? How is everything?" Like she talks to this bus girl. And I honestly, it's a combination of my wife having a really good heart, and I think maybe also my wife not wanting to talk to me. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. that she's having these weird conversations with bus boys and bus girls, so to speak. But she's like, Emma, and like she said, Emma, I'm going to bring you some hair care products. And I'm just like, why are you adopting this Guatemalan bus person? Guatemalan bus person. That's actually on my census form. Pacific Islander, Caucasian, Guatemalan bus person. So I was actually, because normally Karen gets crazy about celebrities, and I'm like, calm down, But I was pissed that she didn't get excited. So then we're sitting there, and Timberlake and Beale take their seat with their friends, and we're eating. And I turned my head. This is, about, I would say 25 minutes later. I turned my head, and I from across the room, I recognized this guy the instant I saw him. Like I'm eating, and I turn around like this, and I go, Matt Dillon. And that's Karen. Like Karen's all about Matt Dillon. Like she's from back my Bodyguard days, like all that. And now I'm like, all right, well, good. I go Matt Dillon. She goes, what? And I go, Matt Dillon. Matt Dillon's right in the front of the restaurant. He's right there. And she's like, oh. And I go, are you going to even look, or do you think? And she's just like, and she kind of like looks, and she's like, oh yeah, okay. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Where's crazy celebrity? I mean, especially this. You love Matt Dillon. What are you? And it's funny, Pardo used to tell a story about how he ran into Matt Dillon in a bookstore and could not believe how handsome he was. Like, was stunned by it. And I got to be on board with that absolutely 100%. Because it was like being caught in a tractor beam. Because I turned around and went, Matt Dillon. Like, it was almost as if I would, like, a swear, like if you stubbed your toe and you went, oh, Matt Dillon. Like, it was that, that kind of weird reaction where I had to just say it. Because I saw him and it was so... I mean, just chiseled face, and he's unique, and it's him. You just know it's him. There's no mistaking him. Very rarely is there a guy who you're like, oh, that guy's like fake Matt Dillon. No, you have to. If you're Matt Dillon, you're fucking Matt Dillon, and that's that. So so I wink at Timber. I didn't even get the chance to wink at Dillon because he's all the way at the front. I should have. That would have been if I was at Matt and winked. That would have been great. Then Timberlake's like, hey, what about seriously? I thought it was just for me, because then the Timberlake's like, oh, he winks at everybody. Okay, well then we're cool. So then Karen says she's going to use the restroom, and I'm like, oh, go see Matt Dillon. And she's just like, I don't care about Matt Dillon. I don't know what happened. My wife apparently decided last night was not the night for celebrities. So as we were leaving, it was just a weird coincidence. We got up to leave, and Timberlake left. And we walked out together. Like I had to, he had to walk out. And Karen was in the front, and she smiled at Timberlake. And I didn't see his face, but she said he gave her a dirty look. I go, there's no way he gave you a dirty look. There's no way. He's bringing sexy back. Why would he be angry at you for anything? I understand he's got 4 minutes to save the world. Maybe that's why there's a problem. And you're in his way. But here was the funny thing, because we used to go to this restaurant all the time. We actually know the names of the valet people, the names of everybody. Like we walk in and we're like the Norm from Cheers of Katsuya. And Timberlake, they beat us out, his party of 4, and they gave their valet ticket to them. And this guy, Michael, walked right past them and came to us and said, oh, hey, give me, and he took our thing, and they ran and got my car before they got Timberlake's car. So I felt a little like oh, haha, suck on it, Timberlake. And but he didn't care because he was making out with Jessica Biel. Like, I mean, it was like literally they were. He had his head in her throat. They were that tied up in the parking lot. And so that was great. I got to wink at Justin Timberlake last night. So Karen's birthday weekend, we had sushi, and then we went. We also went to the Tony Bennett concert on Friday, and that was straight up for Karen, because I'm not a Tony Bennett guy. I'm not. I just we went with Lili. Lili came. Lili and her husband went with, and it was Lili's husband's idea. He's like, why don't we surprise the girls and we'll do Karen's birthday? And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Karen would really like that. She likes Tony Bennett. He's like, yeah, it's going to be great. Are you looking forward to it? I'm like, yeah, Karen's really going to like that. It's going to be good. Because, I again, as I might be out of touch with like new music, like I said at the VMAs, but I'm also not on board with the guy who was singing, he sang for Jesus. Let's put it that way. This guy, he actually sang at the Last Supper, Tony Bennett, I believe. This guy, he's 82 years old, and which was stunning to me. I couldn't believe it, because I'm 41. which means Tony Bennett is. I'm as old now as Tony Bennett was the day I was born. He's double my age. He lived a life before I was born. I can't even imagine. And so going to see him for me, I mean, I guess I'm sure he sings well, but I don't need to hear the best is yet to come. And you know what? I can hear that on a car commercial. I don't need to go see it and hear it live. And that's just me. I mean, it just seems to me like because that's just that music. Just seeing Tony Bennett seems to me like you would be getting smothered with a pillow for an hour and a half. Like you would be getting killed, but unfortunately, it would take so long for you to die. Like it would be the equivalent of if someone tied you up and then just nicked your carotid artery and let you bleed out instead of actually finishing the job. I had no interest in it. But I went for Karen. So we went to the show. And, again, Tony Bennett, 82 years old. And he's a nice man. And, again, in good voice. If you like his voice, that's great. And, again, it looked really classy because he did a smart thing. It was in the Greek Theater, which is an open-air theater. It's the best place to see a concert in Los Angeles. And it was him, a piano player, guitar player, bass player, and drum player. And they were really tight in the middle of the stage. They weren't spread out. There was no light show. And it was a darkened stage. And he wore a white, like a suit coat. I guess it was a tuxedo coat. It was, it was a tuxedo. And the thing is, no young guy would look good in a white tuxedo. But old guy looked awesome. I mean, he pulled it off. And it's just this crowd of people. And and his weird stage patter, and again, it's just not for me. I'm sure everybody loved it, but he's like, Frank Sinatra was my best friend. And then everybody claps for like 9 minutes. He goes, at one time I went and saw Frank, and I sat out there with all the ladies, and I didn't know Frank even knew I was in the building. And then Frank, he sang a lovely song, just a lovely song, and it ended, and he went, Tony. And it took me aback because I didn't know Frank even knew I was there. And he said, Tony, you must sing this song. So let me tell you again, Frank Sinatra, my best friend. You don't want to disappoint that man. And if he told you to do something, you had to do it. So let's do this song for Frank. Oh, my God, kill me. Oh, that's awful. That is the worst story. None of it happened. You never met Frank Sinatra. He was not your friend. He might have been. I don't know. I don't care. But it was that kind of show. So, and it's all these old people in the audience, and rightfully so. He's an 82-year-old man. And he played it like an hour and a half, and I think he did 175 songs. I don't know what it is about the songs of that era, but they're all over in 2 minutes. Fly me to the moon. Thank you. Done. That's it. We're finished. Moving on to the next one. A young man came into my locker room. My locker room? He didn't come into the locker room. Came into my dressing room and told me, I wrote a pop song for you, Mr. Bennett. He wrote a pop song for you, Mr. Bennett? What's this story from, 1911? I wrote a pop song for Tony Bennett. Yeah, 1911 sounds about right. So we're in the audience, and I'm tolerating it. I'm a nice guy. I didn't have a puss on my face. I was like smiling, and it was wonderful. My wife enjoyed it. But then, like halfway through the show, we're sitting there, and again, we're surrounded by the elderly, and seriously, and the elderly and stairs. That's not a good combination at all. Because all it takes is one person to fall, and then he's going to bowling pin everybody, and then we get a 21 broken hip salute. I mean, the whole thing's going to go up. Just everyone's going to wind up getting crack, 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 crack. And they're all clapping, trying to turn the lights on and off, and they're all falling and they can't get up. And they're all, please read my bracelet and get me a ride home. I just calling Life Alert, all of it. Just this whole place. That was the only really interesting thing about Bennett, in my opinion, sitting there. I'm like, you know what? He could die tonight. I don't want him to die, but that's a story. I could say I saw him in his last show, and he was like, ba-da-da-da, dead. And I'm like, see, there we go. Then I'm on board with this. So that was what I went for. I went for Karen, obviously, but also I went for the possibility of disaster because I love chaos. So to be able to say that you were in the house when his last, when it ended, that'd be great. But then also, like I said, there's a million old people, so I'm thinking, oh man, they could just be like a bunch of cardiac arrests, or this could actually turn into that. So halfway through the show, I'm sitting there with Karen. And this smell arrives. And I mean, it was the worst And I don't like talking about this sort of thing. I'm not a fart guy or any of that, but that's what it was. Someone had farted. And again, I'm in a room, and it wasn't me or it wasn't anybody I was with. And you're in a room, and but I knew who it was because directly in front of us, there's like this 85-year-old woman, just this tiny little wrinkled lady with giant crazy glasses and silver hair. And I know she did it. I know it because it hit me from the ground up. So it obviously came from under her chair. And and she's old, so it smelled like Metamucil and regret. I mean, it was just this awful stench. And she turned around, and it's so funny. She had a look on her face. It was that face that from it's funny on old board games it would say from ages 8 to 80. Well, from ages 8 to 80, they all make the same face whenever they've farted in a public place. That weird face, like, who did that? Who did that? Of course I did that. Like, they're all indignant and outraged as they turn around. My lord, who would do such a thing? Well, we know it was you. And you're so angry about it. And also we know it was you because this is a fart from the Depression. That was like the worst fart. This fart came out, and this fart was selling apples on the street. That's how from the Depression this fart was. This fart was so disgusting. And I knew it. It was from her. This fart had a sign that said pencils 5 cents. That's how from the fucking Depression this fart came out. This fart was so from the Depression, stockbrokers were jumping off of it to kill themselves. Because of the crash. That's how fucking awful this. I couldn't believe it. And she made this face, and I'm just like, come on. I know it was you. You know it was you. And this, meanwhile, this fart has a raccoon coat on and a megaphone and a fucking Yale sweater, and it's chanting "Boola Boola." Yes, we know it was you, ma'am. Oh my God, was it awful? It was just this offensive. I was waiting for Bennett to go, whoa, what just happened out there? The best is yet to come. Someone kill me, please. I mean, it was that disgusting. Oh, we were in like the balcony terrace. I almost jumped. I mean, all I could think of was like the Stephen King story, The Mist. Like it was rolling in, and there was going to be or The Fog. Like there was going to be a pirate with a hook who was going to kill me. I mean, it was just the worst smell. And this woman, like, she didn't even think, like, she was like, oh, that's just not going to, it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. And then it just came rolling out of her, and I was just like, oh, that is awful. It just straight out of a soup kitchen from the 20s. Just, that fart smelled like the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Oh, Jesus. That fart showed up, and Al Capone walked up with a baseball bat and beat it in the head. Talking about team. Oh, Jesus, was it awful. But the show was fine. It was okay, I suppose. It was Tony Bennett, and he's Tony Bennett. And that's fine. I mean, he was great, for people who like that sort of thing. I'm not that guy. But, the people who do like it really enjoyed it. They were fine. So, okay. All right, well, you can get me at Mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Hey, you know what? I plugged Battleship Retention last week, and it turned out I did not get to tape it because there were scheduling conflicts to and fro. But go ahead and listen to their podcast anyway. It's a great show, and eventually I'll turn up. Someday I'll be on it. Won't that be grand? But yeah, I am. So get me at Mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can go to MySpace.com/MikeSchmidtComedy. You can subscribe in iTunes and or leave a review there. That'd be great. Do all those things. And also you can get the feed. If you're a Zune guy, go to switchpod.feed.blah, blah, blah. So go Mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com, MySpace.com/MikeSchmidtComedy, and iTunes and SwitchPod and feeds. And Battleship Retention is a podcast I'll be doing sometime in the future. And this show will be airing also in the future. And I have no other plugs. I wish I did. I have nothing else to tell you, folks. I'm going out, but I'm not doing shows. All this open mic garbage nobody wants to go to. What can else I tell you? Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. I'll be in Vegas. I'm going to Vegas in October. I'll be at the Riviera Theater, and no, that's not a theater. It's a casino. Why would I go to the Riviera Theater? There's no theaters in Vegas. For God's sakes, it's a casino. Go in and gamble, and it's always, I'd tell you, it's a crapshoot going to the Riviera Comedy Club. You never know who's going to be there, but I can tell you in August, I don't know who was there, but in October, I will be there. I will be lurking October 13th through the 19th, 20th, and I'm there hosting. I'll be your host and MC that week, as I'm with a couple of other very funny people, like a guy named John Fish, who I don't know, and a headliner who I don't remember who it is. So please, come out and enjoy it. It's going to be fantastic. You can go ahead and get your plane tickets now. Lili was suggesting Travelocity. Apparently, that's her favorite site, so you can go to Travelocity and get some tickets and get on board with that. Come see me. And there's 2 shows a night. So, and I got to change. I got to tell you, it's always different. Every show's different. That is a lie. I usually, especially if I'm hosting emceeing, I'm just zombieing my way through it and doing the best I can to be funny and keep the show moving and keep everybody entertained. And then I get yelled at by a guy in a baseball head who can't wait to go lose 5 more cents on some machine. So, come and check it out. It'll be fantastic. Not unlike this show. And let's be honest, this show was fantastic too. I like to say fantastic. It was funny when Eric was my old producer. He actually, unbelievably, I got a box in the mail, and he had business cards made for me using the logo for the 40-year-old boy, and on the back it said fantastic. And I was like, that is awesome. And then Eric quit. Like literally, I got the box of cards. I'm like, this is a long and fruitful relationship with a guy who obviously cares a lot about this. Ring, ring. Hello, I'm out. And that is not true. He did it via email. So. And I don't blame him. It's not his fault. I have 5 friends, and it's dwindling rapidly. It's always changing. But I'm going to make it. You know what? The friends who are with me will make decrees with me all night long. That's my friends. We'll just sit there and make decrees. All right, so I got to get out of here because I'm parked in a 2-hour spot, and I've been here much longer than that because I was late, folks. I don't know if I told you I was late. That was not good. But I will tell you this. You know why? I was looking for a parking spot forever and ever. I was downstairs looking for a parking spot. I didn't know where I was going to park. And then finally I saw a spot, and I'm like, I'm getting it. And I parked. And if there's one thing I can tell you, folks, A, it's that I'm an okay podcaster. B, I'm a fucking amazing parallel parker. So I wedged my car in, and I don't, again, just much like my chugging rules of it has to be neat. If you park and you're banging the shit out of the other cars, it doesn't count. So I zoom in, and I softly nestle myself into this parking spot, and I'm not lying to you. I almost took a picture of it. There's an inch of clearance on one side and an inch and a half of clearance on the other side. It looks like a helicopter dropped my goddamn car in between these 2 cars. And it was so great. A couple was walking by, and I go, look, you don't know me, but I got to stop you and show you this amazing parking job. And what's funny is the woman, I mean, she couldn't have run faster. Like, she literally, she just, like Usain Bolt, she got down into a sprinter stance, actually set up a block, and ran. Like, just, she's like, you know what? I'm going to run, and I'm going to pound my chest in 9.6 seconds. That's what I'm going to do. I can't get away from you fucking fast enough, you nut. Whoever her husband or the guy that was with her stopped and goes, that is great, man. He was awesome. He like totally humored me. I don't know if he cared or he didn't care, or maybe he thought, I got to be nice to this psychopath or he might kill both of us. But he actually stopped and he like kind of looked and checked it out and was like, dude, that's great. Because it's like 2.5 inches. And I got a Murano and I put it in between these 2. It was awesome. It was just like, I wedged it right in there. It was fantastic, folks. It was amazing. And then this guy and I, now she's running. She's like running down the street in heels and a dress. And he and I are just checking out my parking spot. It was awesome. So I got to go downstairs now and see, A, if it's still there, and B, if a crowd is gathered. Quite frankly, I'm going to check and see if a crowd is gathered because it is the most amazing park job of all time. I may write the city of where I'm at, and I might write them and see, because there's cameras all over now on like all the posts. I might try to get the security footage of it. I think I'm going to take it and just go, and marvel at it. I'm just going to sit there and stare at it and go, look at me wedging a big thing into a small space. And I have a lot of experience in that. Can't give you that. That is something I've been doing for a long time. Wedging a big thing in a small space. Every time I go to the movie theater, got guys in chairs. That's it. Boom. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a decent guy because I am a jerk. And I'm not a jerk man, I'm an awful guy. I'm not an awful guy. I am not a good guy. But I don't think I'm a bad person overall. So, and go ahead and by all means judge that. I'm kind of a jagoff. I got no future. What am I talking about? But I am a jagoff. And I'm not a jerk. I'm a nice guy. It's just I guess I have jerky tendencies. I've done so much ridiculous stuff, and then I wonder afterwards, I'm like, man, how come I don't hang out with anybody? Here's why, because you're a dick. You're finished. 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 You're finished.